So I'm trying to tell an aspect of the universal truth, and if I can keep doing that successfully throughout evolution and eternally, it will keep changing lives. It will keep touching people. I mean, if I go and perform without practicing for one day, I will know.
Achha.
If I don't practice for 2 days, musicians, critics, connoisseurs, they will know. If I don't practice for 3 days, everybody will know.
Achha.
Who he basically thrashed in front of 80 other musicians. Haath se nahi.
Meet Mayookh Bhaumik, the Tabla Maestro who effortlessly blends electronic beats with classical rhythms and has been honored with a national award for his compositions. Get ready for an incredible musical experience in the upcoming episode of Twisted Truths.
Do you like New York or do you like Kolkata?
That's an unfair question.
No, you have to ask. Chalo, cheers. If you have to choose one, which one would you choose? New York or Kolkata, and why?
New York in the summer, Kolkata in the winter, for obvious reasons.
This is being politically correct. Yes, sahi nahi. आप तो ऐसे कभी थे नहीं, आप अचानक.
This is being climatically correct.
तो एक बात बताइए.
Nice coffee here.
Oh, you like it? Okay, yeah. Even I love it. So, okay, tell me something. कभी आपने so the world knows you, India knows you, Calcutta definitely knows you. So, have you ever used your tabla to communicate with aliens? जैसे कोई मिल गया मैं ऋतिक रोशन ने वो
I'm constantly trying to communicate with aliens because communicating with human beings is not turning out to be as profitable as I thought. Achha. So I'm looking for things to happen in outer space.
Achha.
You know.
So have you been able to crack it?
No luck yet.
जादू लाइफ में आया है?
अभी तक तो नहीं. Still working on it.
तो जब आएगा तो मुझे भी देंगे तो मैं भी बास्केटबॉल में मेरे को जीतना है. हाँ. अभी तक कभी बास्केटबॉल में मैं जीत नहीं पाया.
हाँ. Yeah, but if you collaborate with aliens, they have very, very different disciplinary systems. Right?
जैसे कि I'm sure you know because आप इतना बोल रहे हो आपको. How do you know वैसे?
So my first communication, my first introduction to an actual alien was it used to be a very famous YouTube video about how NASA captured an alien being, and that aliens, they ask him, where are you from?
Achha.
He says, I'm from planet Earth.
Achha.
And the guy says, what? How are you from planet Earth? He was like, yeah, I'm from your future.
Okay. Are.
So to travel in time is to travel in space, from space-time continuum. So I'm basically an evolutionary descendant of human beings.
For all those who are watching, he is a tabla player and not a scientist. But आपको ये बता दूं कि he's a NASA dropout and इन्होंने बहुत
NASA is not a university, right?
इसीलिए बोला कि वो लोग कुछ और ही समझ जाएंगे, seriously ले लेंगे, but आपने वहाँ पे मेरा ले लिया. So अच्छा एक बात बताइए, आपने अभी तक you've played in so many places, you've played in so many concerts. What is the most funny reaction you've got till date? Funny.
This was a concert that you were there in.
Acha.
The Calcutta Medical College.
Yeah.
We did their fest,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So I was playing this tabla DJ set, and I said, so how in EDM concerts we kind of work up the crowd, right?
Correct.
So yes. I said out loud in the mic, all my lady doctors make some noise. Achha. And then this bearded guy started shouting. Aah! I was like, dude, I can see your beard from here. So that was a really funny moment for me because all the concerts happened. The crowd was really going insane, and then one bearded guy shouted out when I said lady doctors make some noise.
अच्छा,
right?
तो नहीं, but आजकल तो मतलब gender neutral हो गया है, तो शायद maybe he identified himself as a हो सकता है, you never
probably,
know, right?
Yeah, but I don't think so. I mean, like if he was identifying with another gender except for apart from a male, I would imagine he would put a little bit more effort into his appearance. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just show up looking like you and say I'm female, right?
हाँ करेक्ट मतलब नहीं बट आजकल ऐसा हो गया ना कि शायद बोल दे तो मतलब आजकल इट बिकम सो कॉम्प्लेक्स सो यू नेवर नो मतलब कौन क्या आइडेंटिफाई करे.
That's true.
All due respect.
Yeah, I mean, I shouted out from the auditorium, and I guess it was okay because he also got embarrassed. So
okay.
Yeah, I was lucky, I guess. Yeah, but that was a funny moment, I guess. And there was a.
And what is the most creepy moment?
Creepy moment.
कभी DM में आया हो या personally हुआ हो. Creepy fan moment.
Creepy fan moment. Oh, many.
कुछ एक अच्छा मजेदार incident.
The creepiest fan moments that happen is when random people kind of like go on your Instagram, they follow you, and then they video call you.
अच्छा.
This happens almost every day.
अच्छा.
Almost every 2-3 days this happens.
Okay.
Some random person just starts video calling.
अच्छा.
And I don't accept it. But I'm just saying that that in itself is creepy, and then you have to kind of restrict that person because मैंने कॉल किया आपने उठाया नहीं ये नहीं वो नहीं. I was like,
पर उठाना चाहिए आपको. आप किसी का दिल नहीं दुखा सकते.
Can't take a video call in the middle of the night. Like I mean,
but आप किसी का दिल नहीं दुखा सकते. आपको you cannot do this. Mayookh आप इतने sweet.
I have to take video calls from strangers in the middle of the night, regardless of where I am, how I'm placed, regardless of any of my friends.
Then in the morning you should give them a video call back. Hi.
Yeah.
और क्यों video call किया था बताइए.
Yeah, I should try that at some point.
And then you can make content out of it. Because the whole world is on social media. देखिए ये क्या idea दे दिया अभी.
This is why I have to hang out with you more.
है ना? Yeah. You give me credit. अगर कभी आप ऐसा करोगे ना तो idea credit आप मेरा नाम जरूर डाल देना.
Yeah, but yeah. Obviously, I mean, all the strangest, weirdest ideas I've gotten from you, right? Like do Bollywood mashups with a Michael Jackson song.
Yeah. Right. Oh, you remember that?
Holy Bowl, yeah. That was Holy Bowl.
Right? Yes.
That was great.
So right now, Abhi, you apart from your travels outside India, you majorly play in the eastern part of India. So how is the music scene shaping out here? Has it gotten better over time? How's the payment involved? Are the artists respected enough to be paid well here?
But it's a little circumstantially, it's a little unfair to judge a place based on that right now because we're just coming out of a pandemic. And what happened in the pandemic is the first hit was taken by the arts, the entertainment industry, right? Because we are up. It's said that if you actually, there's a survey that recorded the reactions of several people who were made to go through an entire day without listening to any music.
Achha.
So now, I mean, if you go to a restaurant, you go to a pub, you go to a store, a mall, everywhere you go, even in an elevator, there's music there, right? So they created an imaginary situation where they create a world where there's no music.
Achha. Then
they said in 7 days there will be a world war.
Wow.
That's how important music is to our lives, to our sanity, to our well-being. So. But unfortunately, the minute there's an economic crisis, the minute there's a pandemic, the minute there's a war, anything that hits the human race at an economic, socio-political, and personal level to everybody, the first hit that it gives to is entertainment. The first funding that gets cut is entertainment funding, arts funding, because that's considered optional for people. Like you can't cut medical fundings because people will get sick and they need to be treated.
Obviously, sahi baat hai.
Legal fundings you can't cut. You can't cut police. You can't cut science. You can't cut any of these things. So the first people who suffer is us. And so the pandemic took a huge toll on the arts community in general. And we're just coming out of it. I just did a tour in Australia. I just went to Texas, Austin, Texas, and New York. And it was amazing. It was amazing. All these artists, I met all these South Asian stand-up comics who, talked about the whole South Asian diaspora and their community and their growing up. So there was a Pakistani girl who's an actor that talks about saying that, every time she mentions somebody asks her, what do you do? She says, I'm an actor. The other person doesn't know. So what does that mean? So she gets frustrated and says, that means I'm available for babysitting jobs during the day.
नहीं सच में ऐसे लोग पूछते what does it mean actually?
Yeah. मुझे भी पूछा I play tabla. You do what? तबला. हाँ ना ना वो तो ठीक है आप लेकिन आप काम क्या करते हो?
क्या बात कर रहे हैं मेरे भाई?
I've heard people say that भाई यार कितना talented लड़का है यार मतलब राइट हैंड से एक को बजा रहा है लेफ्ट हैंड से दूसरा बजा रहा है. That's kind of how it works.
अच्छा तो अगर कभी ऐसे इंसान ने उस्ताद जाकिर हुसैन खान साहब को कभी पूछ लिया कि आप तबला के साथ और क्या करते हैं तो वो क्या बोलेंगे उस वक्त?
Given Zakirji's sense of humor, he will probably say,
You know him so well, तो आप
yeah,
क्या
yeah.
बोलोगे? क्या बोलेंगे?
तबला के साथ और क्या करते हैं? He'll probably say something like, you know, I drive an Uber on the side. He will say random things like that.
Yeah.
You know, like,
so what is your most memorable encounter with him?
My most memorable encounter with him.
Because I know that you know him very personally, very closely, and whenever he's in the city, और किसी से मिले या ना मिले वो आपसे जरूर मिले.
Yeah,
तो ऐसा सबसे memorable incident बताइए उनके साथ.
So this is it's a very personal moment that I had, but I would love to share this story with. I am very proud for having, you know, been probably his only student or protege who he yelled at.
अच्छा.
Who he basically thrashed in front of 80 other musicians.
हाथ से मारा?
नहीं हाथ से नहीं.
अच्छा.
But Zakir ji is, I mean, उनका जो thrashing है, it's actually like you feel like I'd much rather be slapped.
अच्छा.
So there was a workshop happening in Marin County in California. I was there and we were playing. And what happens to me is that sometimes I forget that, I mean, I know him so personally and we're so close and we have dinner together and all that. But every now and then I get these flashes like, oh my God, this is Ustad Zakir Hussain.
अच्छा.
That happens to me.
Starstruck जिसे.
Starstruck.
अच्छा.
Completely. Completely. Because I grew up, I have been through days where he was coming out of a concert, finishing his concert. There were like 100 people trying to get his autograph. I kind of crawled through their legs and touched his feet and came out of the crowd. He doesn't even know. So from there to being in a situation where we're sitting and having dinner across the table and talking about music and life generally, to me that's a huge leap. I'd never imagined
obviously,
that, you know.
Obviously.
Yeah, you can imagine, right? I grew up, you know,
आप जिसके फैन हो, आइडलाइज करते हो, आप उनके साथ एक टेबल पे बैठ के बात करना और खाना, surreal.
Having coffee. I used to spend the entire day with him in Princeton and stuff like that. So there was one such incident where in a workshop in Marin, California, we were in the workshop. He was teaching us a rela, a tabla composition, and I kind of like had that, oh my God, it's Zakir ji moment, you know, like
suddenly,
yeah, all of a sudden this happens in a flash,
out of the blue,
you know, that kind of thing. I started staring at him, and he realized that I'm doing that. Achha. So he's used to people being starstruck, right? So he's such a huge celebrity. So he realized that I'm doing that, and he stopped everybody. And I was in the front, and there were like 80 other guys who were playing tabla and girls and musicians. He was like, Mayookh ji, play something fast for us. Play a rela, something really fast. The minute he said that, I knew something was not right. You know, I got that feeling immediately. And I was like, kuch bhi, ek rela bajaiye, kuch bhi. So I went for it, man. You know, like I played my heart out. And he was like, kya baat hai, bahut acha, bahut acha. I'm just wondering, when you're playing fast, your fingers are together and your posture is right and your hand movement is absolutely correct. But when you're playing slow, your fingers are going apart. This is something that's not recommended in the tabla. Your hands should be together. This is the posture.
Achha.
So my hands were kind of spreading out.
Achha.
It's because I was not focused on what I was playing. I was looking at him.
Acha, okay.
So then he said, so I'm realizing that you're when you're playing fast, your hands are together, everything is proper, your posture and everything is good. But when you're playing slow, your hands are kind of separating. Why is that? Are we going too slow for you? Achha. And that's it. I mean, the entire room kind of, there was like, oh, kind of the whole sound, and people were like, and I was like, okay, God, just, you know, let the earth separate and let me, you know, dive in between swimmers. He was like, you know, if you're an advanced tabla player, if we are going too slow for you, you can, you know, go outside, take a walk, you know, enjoy the nature for some time, wait for us to catch up to your speed. And he's including himself. Wait for us to catch up to your speed, and then you can come and join back when we are ready for you.
Oh my.
And he's saying all this with a smile. Very sweetly he's saying it. I felt like dying that day. I just felt like, you know, like, where's the knife? Where's the blade? You know, like, that kind of thing. But I realized much later that, he, first of all, he broke that habit I had of getting, now even now it happens, but I'm able to, realize that and control it in a few seconds, right? And the other thing is that it was like nothing is more important than the instrument that you're playing in front of you. So that was a huge lesson. And to me, like today, sitting here looking back on that, that's a huge moment of pride for me. Because he doesn't yell at people. Like you have to care enough about somebody to yell like that and say something like that, right?
Correct. बिल्कुल.
So that was a great moment.
Yeah. मतलब जब तक आप किसी के लिए अंदर से फील नहीं करते हो, आप उसको कभी भी डांटोगे नहीं. आपको फर्क ही नहीं पड़ेगा वो बंदा बंदी क्या कर रहा है नहीं कर रहा है.
That was the day I felt like ये गुरु शिष्य है. ये जो बॉन्ड है, ये गुरु शिष्य का बॉन्ड है.
ये होता रहता है, ये कोई नहीं.
Sorry about that.
बट ये हमारे एपिसोड में फर्स्ट टाइम हुआ. होना था बिकॉज आप म्यूजिशियन हो, आप लोग अलग ही धुन में रहते हो. So
this is not the धुन in which we dwell, but
फोन से याद आया कि मतलब एज अ म्यूजिशियन, मतलब मुझे जहां तक पता है you guys are very aloof from the phones and gadgets. You're more into your own world compared to a different performer या ऐसा कोई.
Music, we don't have the luxury to do that anymore. I mean,
हाँ, मतलब now with the world going digital, तो शायद आपको अपना रील बना के Instagram में डालना पड़ेगा. But do you enjoy it per se?
I actually do. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. So very well, because when we started collaborating and I started working with you for social media and stuff like that, you kind of encouraged me to come up with creative content that works for social media.
Yes.
And that's a very specific kind of zone. And it's also entertainment. The difference between art and entertainment is that entertainment by its very nature depends on the approval of people.
Right. Correct. Correct.
So I can be crazy and I can do my, pagalpanti and art and whatever I want, as long as I'm doing it for myself. The minute I'm doing it for you or for them, and I'm asking somebody to give me something, whether that's money or reach or whatever it is, I'm asking for something in exchange, I am answerable. I have a responsibility to entertain you. Otherwise, I can't ask you for something. If I go on doing my crazy stuff, I can do it. If you want to be part of that, go ahead.
Right.
If not, but we don't have the luxury to do that. We have to create stuff that is going to have an impact. And that creative process has actually taught me a lot. It's actually taught me a lot. How to take something that, an idea that will work or resonate with people.
With people, right.
And actually, so Zakir ji had said one thing which was amazing. He was like, you do whatever you have to do to get the people into the auditorium.
Right.
He said, I sold tea, which means he did the whole Wataj.
Yeah. Long back. Yes.
That made him a household name.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Now the audience is in the theaters, they've bought the ticket, they've come to the auditorium.
Right.
Then it's your responsibility to convert them.
So that they keep coming again and again.
So that they actually realize the essence of वो अरे हुजूर वाताज है, उसके आगे जो 90 seconds का जो तबला बज रहा है, उसका 1.5 घंटे का या 2 घंटे का जो वर्जन होता है, that is what we are drawing them towards. So that is your responsibility. Can you convert them? Can you create fans out of that? So Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, TikTok, whatever, all these platforms, they have very specific audiences. They have a very specific, not specific, they have a very directional kind of evolution of the taste amongst their consumers. And I think it's important to be a part of that, be present in that, because I myself have learned so much from YouTube. Like I come from a generation where we used to buy cassettes.
Correct.
We used to buy CDs.
Yes.
So we used to actually pay for music. Correct. Now nobody pays for music.
Correct.
Right? So now the thing is, everything is available at the click of a phone, right? But still there is so much of misinformation happening that it's incredible. But I have learned so much after YouTube has come and seen videos of great masters playing and all that stuff. Some people ask me कि अच्छा ये आप कहाँ से सीखा है? I get my list of gurus. I include Ustad YouTube Khan sahab. So yeah, I think it's a paramount importance. It's true. It's absolutely true. And so in any generation, in any era of artists or mankind generally, the people who cannot embrace evolution become extinct. So if I stand here and say no, I do stuff that has nothing to do with YouTube or Instagram, I'll become irrelevant.
आप डायनासोर बन जाओगे.
Irrelevant, yeah. Irrelevant. So this is something that अपना दुनिया जो है, you're talking about अपना दुनिया, that is not a space which is completely disconnected from the rest of the world. The world is very much a part of that, you know. So even like creating reels is also part of my daily creative evolution and process. Does that make sense?
Of course it does. So
Yeah.
when did it first strike you that you want to play tabla for a living?
Oh, I can't remember.
It's that bad.
Yeah, I mean, like forever. I've been playing since I was like, I'm told I've been playing since I was 2.5, 3 years old. So I never wanted to do anything else. Like this was always not play tabla always, because when I was a kid, I wanted to do a lot of other things. I wanted to be a drum programmer.
Achha.
So I bought like from back in the day LS's HR16 drum programming machine.
Achha.
And I used to do that. I wanted to be a composer. But my root and my upbringing was tabla. So I kept coming back to that, and now I've realized that basically is my calling. You know?
How many instruments do you know to play? थोड़ा बहुत
tabla
तो obviously.
Yeah, I can play a little bit of harmonium, which is like
I've heard you play a harmonium.
Yeah, yes. I played in many places. I wouldn't, play like a solo harmonium recital, but yeah, I played my application, and a lot of other percussion instruments come very naturally to me because simply because I can play
the
tabla.
Yeah, right.
Hand drums, any kind of hand percussion, djembe, cajon, darbuka. Drums, I can play a little bit, but drums also requires a lot of hand-foot coordination. I don't have any coordination on my feet.
अच्छा.
So I can get away with playing like one groove or something.
तो आप चलते कैसे हो फिर अगर coordination ही नहीं feet के साथ?
नहीं, drums के लिए कुछ अलग ही coordination.
drums के लिए अलग. मुझे लगा चलने जैसा है.
अगर मैं drums में चल के बजा सकता था तो बजा देता.
तो अच्छा, कभी अगर ऐसा हुआ कि ऐसा कोई situation आ गया कि आप से concert करके घर जा रहे हो and you have your tabla set with you and उसी वक्त वहाँ पे एक डाकू आ गया और आपको अब आपके पास वो तबला ही है उससे मारने का, मतलब उस डाकू को मारने का आपके पास सिर्फ एक ही चीज है, वो है तबला और वो लंबा चौड़ा एकदम, और आपको क्या करोगे? हाथ से तो आप मार नहीं पाओगे, तो आपके तबला फेंक के मारोगे?
Actually, you know the tabla is tuned with a hammer, right?
या अच्छा, तो उसको निकाल के.
I think it's the only instrument in the world that you tune by beating it with a hammer.
हाँ,
you know?
yes. मैं भी
तो वो हथौड़ी तबला इतना भारी चीज है, उसको फेंक के भी कोई फायदा नहीं है वैसे. But the hammer can.
एम भी शायद लगे नहीं लगे मिस हो जाए, तब वो आपके पास आ जाएगा, फिर आप ही खत्म हो जाओगे. तो फिर उस पे.
But hammer I can do some damage.
तो एक बात बताइए, कभी अगर आपको, क्योंकि जनरली हम एक थॉट है कि अगर किसी को इम्प्रेस करना हो, एनी जेंडर, मतलब जो जैसा स्विंग करता हो, तो कोई गिटार बजा के इम्प्रेस करता है. जनरली गिटार इज लाइक द सिंबल कि इससे इम्प्रेस करना है.
That has been the biggest regret and frustration of all my teenage
गिटार क्यों नहीं सीखा?
Because see, the guitarist doesn't even have to play. He just has to show up with a guitar. ठीक है, गिटार लेके वो खड़ा हो गया वहां पे, dude, like, हो गया काम.
तो मैं यही, आप मेरे प्रश्न आप समझ चुके हो. तो
मैं जाके
आपने तबला बजा के किसी को इम्प्रेस किया?
अरे भाई, तबला का केस इज दिस बिग. हाँ, वो केस मुझसे, I can't even pick it up, it's so heavy.
अच्छा.
I have to bring the case, I have to open the case, bring out the tabla, put it on the ring, hammer मार के, ये तब तक एक कॉर्ड बजा के लड़की को लेके हवा हो गया, वो निकल गया. She's on the bike almost 5 miles away by the time I'm ready to hit the first note. So please, you guys are laughing. This has happened with me. And even the harmonium. You know how heavy harmonium is.
एक बार बचपन में मेरे को हारमोनियम सिखाया गया था. हाँ.
That is the.
उसके बाद से मेरा गाने का शौक आ गया. वैसे आपको मेरे गाने के बारे में क्या कहना है? मैं जो
आपके गाने के बारे में
कैसा गाता हूँ?
So there's a definition physicist's point of view definition of the difference between music and noise.
अच्छा, so I'm music.
You fall right in between.
अच्छा अच्छा, okay. मुझे लगा आप मेरा तारीफ करोगे.
वो म्यूजिशियन का काम है एक ही बात घुमा के बोलना ना.
12 notes. ये बात भी सही है.
There are only 12 notes. Then there is, you know, Mozart and then there is Himesh Reshmiya. So like,
अगर आपने मुझे हिमेश भाई बोला है तो मैं बहुत खुश हूँ. Because he is one of my
brilliant.
favorites.
He's brilliant. Amazing composer. I mean,
मतलब कुछ हिमेश जी के तो गाने कुछ ऐसे हैं, मतलब आप सोच नहीं सकते. अच्छा, in the Indian composers, who's your favorite of the current lot? मतलब मैं R.D. Burman साहब का बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, उतना नहीं, current lot.
I'm really of late, like for example, one of my all-time favorites is A.R. Rahman, of course.
Of course,
yeah,
वो तो
somebody who's completely changed the whole scape of how Bollywood music was viewed.
Or Indian music or Hindi music.
Yeah, Hindi film music, basically. Somebody who brought the aspect of, I mean, can you imagine that in 1993, he was in his 20s and he did Roja.
अरे बाप रे.
So, I mean, if he can do a Rukmani, शादी के बाद क्या हुआ, if that can be a hit Hindi song in 90s, in 93, then I mean that's how he changed the whole ball game. Right? He changed. He was the biggest game changer. And then one you know, I would like to say this on a public platform since we are doing this now, because I have always regretted that he's never actually had amazing tabla playing in his recordings.
Acha.
Like if you listen to the Kehna Hi Kya, yeah, Arzia, all these songs, the tabla is a loop.
अच्छा.
You know?
मैंने उतना, obviously I'm not a musician, तो मैंने उतना ख्याल नहीं किया, but आप जो बोल रहे हो
so you know tabla का loop बज रहे हैं.
अच्छा.
So you know, if by any chance you can get this podcast to be viewed by him, Rahman sir, I will, you know, pay money. I will spend my money to go to your studio and play tabla for your recording. Just give one of us this opportunity.
क्या बात है. नहीं, ये तो मतलब जो हमारा marketing team है, please ensure that this video reaches to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he deserves it. I asked Zakir ji once, have you worked with A.R. Rahman? Why haven't you done anything? He's like, I worked with A.R. Rahman when he was still Dilip Kumar.
Sorry, मैं नहीं समझा.
Rahman's name was Dilip Kumar.
अच्छा, हाँ, yes. Yeah. I know.
So there was an album called Colors, which was Kunna Kutti, Vaidyanathan, Zakir ji, and a couple of other, Louis Banks, and Dilip Kumar. So in the photo on the back cover of that cassette, you see Rahman like 18 years old, thin guy standing with like a keyboard next to Zakir ji and all that. So that was way back. But after he became A.R. Rahman, he's never really worked with a proper tabla player, and that's a little sad to me, because.
But why do you think so? He has not worked with a.
I don't know. Either it never, you know, came up, or maybe he's one of those people who's always grasping for really creative minds.
अच्छा.
So I don't know. This is.
शायद आपके जैसा कोई मिला नहीं.
Maybe. Because I'm pretty sure that, you know, there will be a click if I ever get to meet him, and I'm sure I can get him interested to at least try something, right? You know. But then again, I said, you know, like if I get that opportunity, there's no conditions attached. I will make all the effort. I will go and make it happen. But just just to be able to kind of lock myself in with his creative process and make something out of it. Even the tabla, you know, whatever music comes out of the tabla in the context of an A.R. Rahman composition, even that is going to be something that's never happened with the tabla before, simply because it's with him.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, he's one of my all-time favorite. He's one of my heroes, of course. Another composer that I mean, Ajay Atul.
Of late, matlab.
I love their work. I mean, they're so. See, one thing about me is that being a classical musician, I have an affinity. I get education really appeals to me. Somebody who knows his stuff, that really appeals to me. You know, like I you know. Like for example, a great artist like Kishore Kumar ji, they say that he's never learned music.
I know. Yes,
and that's amazing.
और वो सच बात है ना वो?
Yeah.
I mean, like जैसे कि रफी साहब ने proper,
Rafi साहब was a classical, properly trained. And Kishore Kumar ji, if you learn, I mean, if you are like for me, I can listen to somebody and immediately I know whether he has learned.
Right,
you know?
right.
So Ajay, Atul, they are learned. They know their stuff. They know proper orchestration. They know their Indian classical music. All kind of. My mom is gonna drive me crazy.
सेकेंड टाइम बजा, ये भी आज तक ऐसे शो में नहीं हुआ, बट ठीक है, आपके लिए सब माफ। तो एक बात बताइए, ये अभी जो सॉरी मैं आपका ना मैं क्वेश्चन ही भूल गया, मैं क्या क्वेश्चन पूछने वाला,
कट कर सकते हैं क्या?
नहीं कट नहीं कर सकते, चलने दीजिए, सब अपने ही लोग हैं, मतलब क्या मैं पूछ रहा था, हाँ मैं ये पूछ रहा था कि आपने मुझे एक गाने के बारे में बोला था जो अनु मलिक जी ने कंपोज किया है, मोह मोह के धागे। So that is also one of your favorite song because आप उसका अक्सर जिक्र करते रहते हो। क्यों ऐसा? उस पर obviously it's a beautiful number, but from a musician's point of view, क्या खासियत है उस गाने की?
First of all, it is based in a very strange rag, and I'm forgetting the name of that rag.
अच्छा.
He has mentioned it in one of his interviews.
अच्छा.
It's just a beautiful melody, and the antara. That whole Anu Malik is there's a lot of blame against Anu Malik for having engaged in a lot of plagiarism, which he's done also. I mean, to be fair, but Anu Malik is also a fantastic original composer, and I think a lot of these composers have been criticized and underrated because they've had really big hit songs which were not
originals,
which were plagiarized, right? Like for him, Mera Piya Ghar Aaya, or for Pritam. But these people, Anu Malik, Pritam, they're incredible composers. Incredible. I mean, the stuff that they've actually done themselves.
आपने लाल सिंह चड्ढा के गाना सुने हैं?
हाँ,
वो प्रीतम जी ने कंपोज किया था, प्रीतम दा ने, तो वो सब ओरिजिनल्स थे ना, आई थिंक, अगर आपने, मेरे को तो क्योंकि मुझे बहुत अच्छे लगे,
as far as I know,
मुझे वो सब गाने बहुत अच्छे लगे, एंड वेरी डिफरेंट।
Wait, I mean, Pritam, yeah, I mean, Life in a Metro.
अरे क्या बात है
तुझे भी इजाजत कर ले तू भी मोहब्बत है तुझे भी इजाजत. It's the same line. It's the same lyrics, right? कर ले तू भी मोहब्बत. So brilliant composition. Brilliant. I mean, he really knows his stuff. Really knows. I met him also once actually during the recording of Life in a Metro. राते भीगी भीगी, that song.
yes. वो तो एक तो बंगाली एल्बम का वो था, मोहिनीर घोड़ागुली, पृथ्वी की
छोटे होते हैं, brilliant song. So he did the Hindi of that, and in the interlude of that was played by Niladri Kumar, who's a really good friend of mine.
अच्छा.
Sitar player in
Bombay. Yes.
So he's a maestro, and he played the electric sitar on that, which sounds like a rock guitar. But वो rock guitar का instrument is actually a sitar.
अच्छा, okay.
So he's created this thing, which was another thing that happened with the guy. I suggested to him that I always felt that Niladri bhai had this very rock guitars, Jimi Hendrix kind of a presence, / Jimi Hendrix, that vibe. So I told him one day, I was like, why don't you go direct, like instead of miking your sitar, why don't you put a amp and transducer into your thing and go direct to an amplifier? So that got him thinking. So he created this instrument which is called Zitar, his name. Zitar is like a small red sitar which doesn't have the resonating chamber. It's like it's what electric guitar is to the guitar, Zitar is to the sitar.
Okay.
So he plays that through like a GT6 processor, like playing like distortion and fuzz and all that kind of stuff. And so he played that. So I was there in Mumbai, and he was like, "Let's go and have fun." And the entire day we were there. Pritam was there also, and so we spoke. And I'm a great admirer of his music.
So अगर 3 ऐसे composers के आप नाम बोलो इंडिया में जिनके साथ आपको बहुत मतलब दिल अंदर से काम करने का, तो ऐसे कौन होंगे? A.R. रहमान साहब तो आपने बोल ही दिया, चलिए, और बाकी और दो
composers. I would really like to work with Ajay Atul.
अच्छा.
Because they have a very wide perspective, like their whole the canvas is very large, and so I think like they'd be able to create a lot of a really interesting context for me to kind of explore.
Achha.
And composers, you said, right?
Yeah.
Film composers.
Yeah.
And is that the other one would probably have to be Vishal Shekhar. Because I'm also really interested in that hardcore Bollywood rhythm section. वो ढोलक तबला नाल डफली का जो section होता है.
Yes.
I mean, if anybody after these, no, sorry, I would have to also mention Ismail Darbar.
Acha.
Fantastic composition, and I mean all his compositions and just I mean, if you think Dola Re Dola, ya Mar Dala, the rhythm sections in these songs are just. I mean, I would, it would be like a party for me. It would be like a celebration for me, just to be part of an arrangement like that, which is so huge. When he arranges with like a 25-30 piece rhythm section. So if I get a rhythm section like that to deal with, oh God, I'll knock myself out.
So, एक बात बताइए, for anybody who's starting off and wants to बचपन में स्टार्ट किया हो या कभी भी स्टार्ट किया हो और वो म्यूजिक लेके आगे बढ़ना चाहता है, तो ये प्रैक्टिस या रियाज जिसे कहते हैं, हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट इज दैट, एंड कितने और आप कितने घंटे या कितने दिन में कितने बार आप रियाज करते हो?
रियाज इज एवरीथिंग. Riyaz is everything. Riyaz is also half of your talim. Like, so if all the stuff that I compose on tabla, whatever I create, most of it, 85-90% of it, actually happens when I'm practicing. I don't sit to compose something separately.
अच्छा.
वो रियाज से ही निकल के आता है.
अच्छा.
ये ट्राई किया, वो अच्छा, ये ऐसा हो सकता है, वो ये. तो रियाज is basically, see, being a musician is not a job. It's not a profession. It's not a business. It can be all of these things. It can be your job. It can become your profession. You can turn it into a business. But being a musician is a way of life. ये एक जीने का तरीका है. This is a way of life. So, for a musician, riyaz is everything. And the great Ustad Ali Akbar Khan Sahab once said that if I don't practice one day, I will realize it. I mean, if I go and perform without practicing for one day, I will know.
Achha.
If I don't practice for 2 days, musicians, critics, connoisseurs, they will know. If I don't practice for 3 days, everybody will know.
अरे बाप रे.
So
आप daily practice करते हैं?
I mean, I can't do it absolutely daily when I'm traveling.
Right, obviously.
Or if I'm not well or something.
Yes,
but yeah, absolutely. Because again, it's not like, acha, I have to sit and practice. It's what you do. You wake up and you practice. You're a musician, you wake up and you play.
मतलब ये कभी भी एक बोझ नहीं लगना चाहिए रियाज ना?
Absolutely not. But yeah, I mean, hardcore practicing, when we do like hours and hours of practice, it's not easy and it's not always fun.
Of course, yes.
I mean, working out, it's like working out, right? It's like working out can be fun. It gives you a certain kind of happy high, like a natural endorphin high that happens after that. But the process of doing that is not. I mean, I tried to play this thing in Pandit Kumar Bose ji ka and ended up like cracking my index finger right here. So yeah, I mean, there's pain involved, but then no pain, no gain, right?
So, who's your favorite person that you've played with so far?
Again, I mean, you are asking really unfair questions.
Why?
Like, how can I say one favorite person? And...
No, you can name as many. See, यहाँ पे ना हम लोग ने कुछ बाग नहीं रखा कि आपको एक ही बोलना पड़ेगा. मैं करण जोहर तो हूँ नहीं कि मैं जबरदस्ती का एक ही.
Thank God he's not interviewing me. I think from every generation, like I've played with Birju Maharaj ji. Playing with him was a revelation of like, what a performer, what a human being, what an artist, what an entertainer. मतलब वो जाके कि all the stories he tells, he really popularized this whole idea of storytelling through bowls and through Kathak. And just the way he used to do, I'll give you a small example. Snake and mongoose का fight. वो fight एक bowl के अंदर है. तो धा गिना ताकि तधा गिना ताकि घिन तगिना ताकि तधा गिना ताकि टेटे गिना ताकि गिना धा गिना ताकि तधा गिना ताकि घिन तगिना ताकि तधा गिना ताकि टेटे गिना ताकि गिना धा गिना ताकि तधा गिना ताकि घिन तगिना ताकि तधा गिना ताकि टेटे गिना ताकि गिना धा.
अरे क्या बात है, क्या बात है, क्या बात है.
ये महाराज जी का क्रिएशन है, and just these compositions. Small जानवर like a rabbit, medium जानवर like a deer,
अच्छा,
big जानवर, large जानवर like a tiger or lion. This is all happening inside the beat.
ये तो पूरा स्टोरी टेलिंग है, ये तो वाओ.
Even Zakir ji has incredible creations like that. A deer is wandering about in the forest looking for food.
अच्छा.
वो जाके यहाँ पे पिज्जा हट मिला वो बंद है, मैकडॉनल्ड्स मिला वो भी बंद है. अचानक से he sees a शिकारी, hunter.
अच्छा.
Gets surprised.
अच्छा.
And leaps out, jumps out. Okay? This is the story.
अच्छा.
So
अरे क्या बात है, क्या बात है. उफ.
So these guys are amazing.
अच्छा, तो वो जब ये बजाते हैं तो पहले स्टोरी बोल देते. अरे मतलब you can visualize. मेरे तो रोंगटे खड़े हो गए यार.
I'll tell you a really interesting story I came up with. So we do this thing like I say that, you know, our generation of all these people who learn from Zakir ji and even Zakir ji himself, we're not stand-up comedians, but we're sit-down comedians. We sit down and you know, and we play. So do you guys know about these like self-checkout counters in grocery stores?
Yes.
So they have this thing which is like a terrible idea, right? Like whoever came up with that is like, I mean, just the arrogance. So self-checkout counter is like you go to a register and you have to check it out yourself. You have to pay yourself. You have to do, you know. So here I was thinking I'm a tabla player, but evidently I also work at a grocery store. Like, yeah, you know, like what kind of arrogance is this? Like, yeah, you come into my store, you pick out everything, you bring it to the counter, you pay us, and then you get out of the store. चलो जल्दी you know, that thing. तो उसका भी एक बोल निकाला मैंने.
अच्छा, ये आपने निकाला. हाँ. अच्छा.
Come into my store. Pick up all the things that you need. Bring it to the counter. Scan all of them. Pay me and then get out.
Wow, मतलब
storytelling. So I really enjoy playing with people who are storytellers.
मतलब ये कभी मेरे को रियलाइज नहीं हुआ कि क्लासिकल म्यूजिक मतलब ऑब्वियसली जो राग होता है वो एक स्टोरी बोलता है, बट मेरे को कभी ये रियलाइज नहीं हुआ कि जब एक सीक्वेंसेस प्ले होता है उसके पीछे इतने स्टोरीज रहते हैं. मतलब
I mean, so the whole point of art is the storytelling, right?
Be it any form of art.
Be any form of art. I mean, so there's a book that I'm currently reading by a person, great author. He's a cognitive neuroscientist, psychologist, and a music producer.
Acha.
Yeah, he's a professor at McGill University in Montreal, Canada.
Acha.
Incredible. He's written 2 bestsellers.
Acha.
So this book is called Your Brain on Music. It's basically how the mind is affected. In that book, he has this line where he says, the goal of the artist through his paintings or the musical compositions is not to tell the literal truth.
Acha.
But an aspect of the universal truth, which if told successfully, will continue to touch and change lives throughout changes in cultures, perceptions and societies.
ये तो ज़्यादा डीप नहीं हो गया?
हाँ, यही है.
ये आप लिख के भेज दीजिएगा मेरे को. मुझे सुन के बहुत अच्छा लगा. सुन के बहुत अच्छा लगा.
I'm not telling the truth as it is.
हाँ.
Right.
हाँ.
So हम बैठ के ऐसे जैसे बात करेंगे, you know, like you and me chilling at a restaurant. We have, you know, this setup. We have these cameras. We have these lights. We have all these people helping us with this whole thing. And we are creating a conversation which is basically our conversation, but we are designing it to fit into a context that's relevant for people to listen to. So at the end of the day, we're also telling a story. It is our conversation. I'm telling my story and you're kind of bringing that out. But this is our conversation kind of modified to fit the entertainment value that needs to be presented. So we are all in a way storytellers. So we're not actually, as an artist, when I'm making a song, when I'm composing a song or I'm playing something on the tabla, I'm not trying to tell the actual truth. देखो अभी GST इतना बढ़ गया है तो ये हुआ तो my tax return, nobody cares, right?
सही बात है.
So I'm saying that you have to affect people is what I'm saying, right? So I'm trying to tell an aspect of the universal truth, and if I can keep doing that successfully throughout evolution and eternally, it will keep changing lives. It will keep touching people. it'll keep, like politics will change, societies will change, perceptions will change. But आपकी नजरों ने समझा प्यार की काबिल मुझे will always keep changing people's lives, affecting people's lives. They say you make one good song, might change your life. You make one great song, it'll change the world. So yeah, so like favorite person to play with is like I have all these people. I've played with amazing.
You can't choose one. You can never choose one.
So just interacting with people. Rahat Fateh Ali Khan sahab.
उनके साथ आपने
fantastic musician, and his father Farooq Fateh Ali Khan sahab. I spent 5 days with them in LA. Amazing people, amazing amount of knowledge. That's a place where I learned a lot of harmonium playing from them. Sitting in the hotel room with them. Bij Maharaj ji, Amjad Ali Khan sahab. I can't. I've actually played in Zakir ji's workshop where Zakir ji played the harmonium with me once.
अच्छा.
मतलब उन्होंने लहरा बजाया मेरा solo. मतलब he asked me to play solo and he accompanied me on the harmonium. That was the scariest concert of my life. I mean, every time I'm looking to them playing and I'm looking, oh my God, Ustad Zakir. That happened. So yeah, Niladri Bhai is another great performer. I love playing with him.
तो कभी आपने ऐसा हुआ है, मतलब ऑफ कोर्स हुआ होगा, मतलब कोई आप कॉन्सर्ट में गए हो या कोई एक शो में गए हो और कुछ ऐसा हो गया जो आपको बहुत एम्बैरेस कर दिया हो, मतलब कभी एम्बैरेसिंग मोमेंट ऑन स्टेज ऐसा हुआ है?
एम्बैरेसिंग
और क्या ऑडियंस को वो पता चला है, तो ऐसा कभी कुछ, या आपके फेलो म्यूजिशियंस को पता चल गया हो?
Well, yeah, fellow musicians, so we keep making mistakes and the trick is that the bigger your mistake is, the more you smile. Yeah, मतलब complete mess up कर दिया एक line को and smile as in yeah, that was the whole idea. And,
तो कभी ऐसा हुआ कि ऑडियंस को समझ जाएगी, ऑडियंस ये क्या हो रहा है भाई, देखो गड़बड़ हो गया, ऐसा कभी हुआ है?
No, not to that level, not to that. I mean, I do remember once I was, oh yeah, actually yes. I was playing in Edmonton with Pandit Tarun Bhattacharya, santoor player.
अच्छा.
And in the middle of the concert, I had this massive cramp.
अच्छा.
On my calf muscle.
अच्छा.
Huge cramp to the point where I couldn't even sit anymore.
अच्छा.
So I had to stretch my leg
while playing tabla.
Left my tabla. Achha. Left my tabla in the middle of the, so I had to stretch my leg out like that. And Ustad Ashish Khan Sahab was in the audience. Achha. He is Ustad Ali Akbar Khan Sahab's elder son.
Achha, हाँ.
Great master.
Achha.
He came up on stage.
Achha.
Because he knows what that's like. Sarod players actually sit like this. No? They play like this. So they've been through the deal.
Achha.
He was like, I have to say it in Bangla. He was like, Shwe poro. He's a Bengali. Shwe poro. So then I'm lying flat on the stage. Here's my tabla. I'm lying with my feet right to the audience like this. Tarunda is sitting helplessly, with his santoor. He doesn't know how to, what to do, how to react to that. And Ashish Khan Sahab came and he kind of took my, the big toe and pressed it in a way that the cramp disappeared.
Achha. While the audience is watching?
The entire audience is there. The middle of a concert, right bang in the middle of a concert.
कितने लोग होंगे?
1,200 people.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
बाप रे.
Okay, check this out. And then I get up and I just go on to the tabla and it was ta bajaya and there was a huge applause. कुछ किया नहीं. Why? Because it got out through.
Oh my God!
ये हो गया. After the concert, so that was really embarrassing, but again that was fun also in a way. I drank some water, and played the rest of the concert. Tarunda comes to the green room, and he says to me, and this is in Bangla for all you people who understand Bangla. I guess
we'll put subtitles.
Yeah, subtitles. Mushkil hoga. So I'll try to translate it, but in Bangla, Tarunda said, তোর সাথে কি করে লাগবো ভাই, প্লিজ স্টেজে শুয়ে শুয়ে আশিস খানকে দিয়ে পার্টে পাচ্ছিস। Okay, he was like, yeah, how am I going to compete with you on stage, man? You're just lying down there getting a foot massage from Ustad Ashid Khan. There's no beating.
And it's so sweet of Ustad Ashid Khan Sahab कि वो आए ऊपर, मतलब
he didn't have, and he's so much older than I am. His son is older than I am. He came and did this.
I think this humility and humbleness, greatness, यही इंसान को उस लेवल पे लेके जाता है ना.
Either that, or उस level इंसान को humble कर देते हैं.
ये भी बात सही है.
You know, like every time so the great thing was, so I've learned from Pandit Gyan Prakash Ghosh, Ustad Zakir Hussain, Pandit Birju Maharaj ji, S. Shekhar ji, Ustad Sabir Khan Sahab. I've had probably in my generation, probably the greatest set of gurus that you can think of. The thing about being in the presence of greatness is you realize how unimportant you are. You know, when you sit across a table with Ustad Zakir Hussain, even if that's one day in a year, in your entire idea of who you are and how important you are, just like it comes out like a deflated balloon. You know what I'm saying? Like that happens.
How important? See, I've often come across many people who जो थोड़ा सा सक्सेसफुल होने के बाद उनका आइडिया उनके अंदर थोड़ा सा चेंज हो जाता है. दे थिंक कि वो लोग बहुत कुछ कर लिए. तो हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट डू यू थिंक इज बीइंग हम्बल एंड मेंटेनिंग दैट ह्यूमिलिटी इज इम्पोर्टेंट इन एनी फील्ड? That level-headedness
in life,
in life.
You see, like, okay, so I'll give you an example. In the history of mankind, in the history of
let's
the world,
call it humankind. Of
humankind, humankind. Mozart is a dot.
Achha.
In the history of things, in the whole scheme of things, Mozart is a dot. Shakespeare is a dot. Van Gogh is a dot. Who the hell do you think you are? मैंने क्या उखाड़ दिया यार, तबला बजा के मैंने क्या कर दिया? ठीक है, अच्छा बजाया, good. Will the world be missing anything if you didn't? No. There's enough and more. So I'm saying ultimately the goal of any artist, person, scientist, whoever it is to affect humankind in a positive way.
Absolutely.
So that it improves. I mean, even if you can touch 2 lives. I'll tell you a story that just happened in Texas. Do you know who Aditya Rao is?
No.
The amazing singer.
Achha.
He has this, he's made this cover of Shape of You.
Achha.
With like Mahesh Raghavan, the guy who plays the iPad shredder, Carnatic classical style, he plays on the iPad. It's insane. You have to see this guy. I'll show you after this thing.
Okay.
So Aditya Rao is a Carnatic singer who came and met me. So I went to Texas to play for the South by Southwest Film Festival.
ये आप 1-2 महीना पहले का बात कर.
अभी मार्च में. Last month. So this podcast is going to go out in May, right?
Yeah.
So last month. So, 2 months ago then. Young chap. In my sound check, I had sound check at 10 o'clock in the morning. Show was at 8:30 at night. Came up to me and said, he was also performing that night. It was like, I really wanted to meet you, you know, like, and said these amazing things. And he's also somebody who got really into Carnatic music and started following this diaspora. And he's now also one of the South Asian musicians who's given up his job, and his one Shape of You video has, and he was born and he grew up in America.
Acha, okay.
Okay. And so I just realized that this is actually happening. Like, that's my story, right? Like, I was born there, I grew up there, but then I came here and did this music, and I did it like here, right? So he did the same thing, and he was like, it's been 4 years, I've given up my job, I'm a full-time musician. He's sung 2 songs for Rahman. Achha. His Shape of You cover has 11 million views on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
And वो कर्नाटिक क्लासिकल सरगम देके उसको Shape of You का उसका राग डाल के उसमें,
right.
You know, oh why pani da sa, oh why, you know, ऐसे करके very interesting stuff is done. So it's happening. It's a movement. It's a movement that's happening. But I'm just saying that until you affect people's lives, it doesn't make a difference. It's like you can have a lot of money. Suppose you have a lot of money. But unless you're giving me some of that money, it makes no difference to me, does it? Like, what do I care?
Right. Correct.
Yeah, आपका BMW है तो मुझे चलाने दो यार, नहीं तो मुझे क्या फर्क पड़ता है, आपको BMW को भी है, you know? So I'm just saying that I can be a very skilled player and बहुत मैंने रियाज किया, बहुत तैयार हूँ, बहुत this that. But if I can't emotionally affect you at a life level,
तो क्या फायदा हुआ?
And even if I did, I'm just saying that at the end of the day, when you see the larger scheme of things, when I see the list of my gurus, Like you can't possibly, and humility is not something that you have to. Okay, I have to be humble
नहीं
today.
वो अंदर से आता है.
हाँ.
You
It has to
can't
be.
you can't teach
If you
someone.
know, if you are realistic and you know what has happened
right, yes.
and what people are doing even
Yes,
today, the
yes.
marvelous stuff that is happening all over the world.
Right.
I think arrogance is basically so pride or vanity is basically another form of arrogance.
Absolutely.
And arrogance is another form of ignorance.
True. Is another form of
ignorance. You can only be arrogant if you don't know what people have done and people are doing.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, where's the space to be arrogant? Hum jo hai. Who the hell? Kya hai, bhai? Like hum jo hai, matlab, like that can only happen if you really have no idea what's going on in the world.
Correct.
There are people who, there's a guy who lost both his arms. The solo slide guitarist, he plays with his toes. So if a guy can do that, ये करके देखा, हाथ से तो सब बजा लेगा, पैर से गिटार बजा के देखा. If you see that, you're like, yeah, ठीक है, अच्छा है, but don't go beyond that. If you've done something good, that's great. That's great. But so have other people.
Correct.
I met the guy who basically finished this performance in Austin. And I took an Uber back to the Airbnb where we were staying. The driver asked me, Acha, what is that in the back, your musical instrument? What instrument is that? I was like, tabla. He was, tabla, Indian drums. I was like, yeah. I was like, you know tabla? He was like, yeah. African guy with a very thick African accent. He comes from a country which is in between Ethiopia and Somalia.
Achha.
It turns out that he's like a famous African folk singer.
Achha.
And famous matlab famous.
Achha.
He fled to America because there was so much of violence and war and stuff happening, unrest happening in his country.
Yes.
So he fled to America without immigration. He stayed in immigration detention for 2 months in California. And now he's driving an Uber. And there's like a huge article in the Texas Tribune about this guy. And he's driving my Uber.
Fantastic. Kya story hai.
He was like, you're from India, huh? I was like, yeah. Pardesi, Pardesi, Jana. I was like, huh? He knows the entire song with the lyric. Mithun Chakravarti, you know Mithun Chakravarti? I was like, yeah, I actually do know him. You met Mithun Chakravarti? And he was, so in his country, he's much bigger than I am in my country. And he's driving my Uber. So don't get ahead of yourself. बड़ा कॉन्सर्ट बजा के स्टैंडिंग ओवेशन देके एक आदमी जो है फेमस आदमी मेरा उबर चला रहे भाई. So that is my question. क्या उखाड़ देगा?
अच्छा, इंडियन ड्रम से एक क्वेश्चन मेरे दिमाग में आया. तो ये एक नोशन है ना कि कूल इंस्ट्रूमेंट जो आपने थोड़ी देर पहले बोला गिटार. तो तबला क्या उस कूल जॉनर में कभी पड़ेगा या पड़ता है? आपको क्या?
What do you mean by cool?
ये वही बोल, सबका डेफिनेशन अलग होता है. By cool I mean your definition कि गिटार खोला नहीं कि.
That is a very shallow definition of cool.
I know.
This is definitely not my definition of cool. It used to be when I used to see these complete nobodies coming with a guitar and just making it happen. I was like, यार मैं तबला निकालूंगा. तबला निकाल के तो देखा, बजाना तो दूर की बात है. First take out your tabla. By that time I'll be gone, and so will the girls. Like. So I'm just saying, yeah. Tabla is.
See, देखिए, you can't define what you mean by love. ये cool का भी ना, you can't define कि हाँ cool मतलब ये है, cool मतलब वो है. But in your definition, मतलब in your definition is tabla cool, and in the worldly definition.
Okay, so if I have to explain the cool, okay, so Ustad Zakir Hussain is probably the first rock star and like a pop icon from an Indian classical music background.
Achha,
right?
Achha.
He plays the tabla. Tabla is, undoubtedly one of not just the coolest instruments in India, but it's also one of the most widely used Indian instruments in the world. Tabla has been used in everything. There is no other Indian instrument that you'll find across so many genres. Yes, granted that it's a drum and it's a percussion, so it can be applied in different things. But even other percussions, mridangam, ghatam. I'm not comparing instruments. I'm just saying that this is something that has happened through evolution. So, pure classical music, khayal, thumri, dadra, ghazal, qawwali, bhajan, Bollywood film music, fusion music. Can't imagine an Indo-Western fusion music without a tabla, right? And then people like Talvin Singh, Karsh Kale, even later myself, we brought it into the EDM dance music scene,
right,
in which tabla works. I mean, in my opinion, from what I've seen, it's one of the most crowd-pleasing instruments in the world. लेकिन वहां पे एक थोड़ा सा रिग्रेट मेरा भी है जैसे one thing that we can get people to clap and dance and whistle and go insane, right? Can't get people to cry, man.
अच्छा
वो सारंगी या वोकल म्यूजिक से या बांसुरी से वो टीयर जर्किंग क्वालिटी है ना उसमें आंसू निकालना जो है that's my ambition. That's one of my
कि तबला से आप लोग
रुलाना चाहिए मुझे रुलाना है ऑडियंस मतलब यहाँ जाके I don't know if I can do that or how to do that.
I hope and pray that you can. अगर before we move on to our last segment, एक बात बताइए अगर आपको मैं एक टाइम मशीन दे दूं और मैं आपको बोलूं you can go back and relive or change a certain thing about your life, be it your profession, yeah, anything, would you change anything or would you just keep it as it is?
No, I'd have to keep it as it is, because every moment, this is a very standard procedure, but every moment that has happened in my life has led up to this moment. So if I change one of them, I would not be sitting here talking to you. Like, for example, if I didn't change my flight date to come back from New York, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Correct. सही बात है.
So no regrets. Yeah, there are things, I feel like, I could have done that better or I could have, but, in hindsight, I did the best I could. And every mistake, I've actually, you learn, your success doesn't actually teach you anything, your failures do.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So everything that I have not been able to accomplish, every failure that I've had, every disaster that I have caused, I mean, I haven't caused any natural disasters. I've, caused, everything that I have messed up basically has taught me something that's, priceless. And I can't change that. And I would rather not, in hindsight, at the time of the failure, I would stand there and think that, acha, I wish I had succeeded. But later on, looking back on that, I feel like if I had succeeded in that, I wouldn't have done this.
एकदम correct.
हाँ मतलब एक दिन रियाज करके अगर मेरा हो जाता तो my whole lifetime experience of practicing would never have happened.
Correct.
So yeah, no regrets, never. I mean,
क्या बात है. So to end, we have some choices for you, this or that, okay? And you have to be fast enough.
Rapid fire.
It's kind of
rapid fire.
Yeah, kind of rapid fire.
I don't know what you kids are calling it these days.
नहीं फिलहाल तो उसको कुछ नाम दिए ही नहीं है. मतलब but just ये है कि आपको choices जो जल्दी से जल्दी.
You just call it slow water. Just the opposite of like rapid fire.
Slow water. Yeah, अच्छा है. I think we'll use it.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk.
Just speed down the video to like slow motion as like black or white.
I'll just take the approval of our producer key whether she approves it or not.
Please do.
ठीक है. So are you ready, Mayookh bhai?
As ready as you'll be.
एकदम. Okay, so Indian music or Western music?
Indian music.
2023 or 1993?
2023.
Online or offline?
Offline.
Tea or coffee? I think I know this. Yeah. Summer or winter?
Winter.
Flight or
depends on which country.
in Calcutta?
Winter.
In India?
Winter. Yeah, in New York, summer.
Flight or train?
Flight.
Rhythm or melody?
Rhythm.
Books or movies?
Movies.
Solo concert or a group concert?
Solo concert.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Thank you so much,
You're so
Dada.
welcome. You're so welcome.
Before you go, I would ask you to write a small note for us.
Uh-huh.
And please read it out to the camera right there. अब क्या
Okay.
लिखते हो? anything you. अब ये भी लिख सकते हो कि go to hell. वो आपके ऊपर है. I remember your handwriting. आप बहुत अच्छा लिखते हो.
But this doesn't really qualify into that. So this is a message for the audience?
This is a message for us, our team.
For your team.
Yes. बताइए.
I said, keep going, DNG. You guys will change the world.
Thank you so much, Dada. And we have a small gift for you as well.
How small?
Thank you.
Oh my God, this is lovely.
This has been presented to us by Utsav Creations.
Thank you.
Especially for you.
Thank you.
And
this is beautiful.
I hope you like it.
This is beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This was amazing, man.
Thank you so much.
Sitting down in front of a camera and talking to the one guy that I've spent most of my life talking to.
Yeah, and I hope you'll be back again for our next season too.
Yes, absolutely.
So, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.